We made it!
Lana Del Rey's 9th studio album, Did You Know There's a Tunnel Under Ocean Boulevard, is finally out. This album follows Blue Banisters, the second of 2 albums released in 2021, and Lana's appearance on Snow on the Beach, a track that she did with Jack Antonoff and longtime admirer and fellow songwriting mastermind Taylor Swift. You know the drill, I'm gonna do a quick little recap of the era so far, the promo, and the current reception before talking about each track briefly and assigning the album an overall score. Ocean Blvd was first teased after Blue Banisters' drop, when she talked about some new songs on an Instagram Live, but the first real hint about the album and its sound came in a W Magazine interview where she talked about using voice memos to construct the songs, and compared the songwriting in the new album in contrast to how she wrote for Honeymoon, stating that it would be an angry and conversational record. The album marks the return of longtime collaborator Jack Antonoff, also returning are Zach Dawes, Drew Erickson, and Benji. The 2 newcomer producers on the record are Mike Hermosa and Laura Sisk. Featured on the album are John Batiste, Simmel, Riopi, Father John Misty, Bleachers, and Tommy Genesis. Promo for the record felt more traditional and saw Lana make her rounds across many major magazines. The first single, the title track, a dreamy Baroque orchestral pop ballad about a real-life sealed tunnel in Long Beach, dropped in December 2022 along with the original release date of March 10th, though the album would be pushed back to March 24th. Hype for the album grew exponentially on Valentine's Day when Lana unveiled single 2, A&W, originally titled American Whore, which Antonoff called his favorite creation with Lana. The track was universally adored, even getting Best New Music. That same day, an interview with Billie Eilish dropped where Billie thanked Lana for paving the way, and Lana teased some tracks and talked about the record not being about world building, but rather vibes. The final single before the album drop was The Grants, which premiered on BBC Radio 1, and then the album dropped along with Candy Bracelet as the next single. The album was well received. At the time of this video's recording, it ties with Blue Banisters for her 3rd highest Metacritic score, earned Best New Music on Pitchfork, and won over many fans in just its first weekend. Ocean Blvd is a career-defining album. It sounds like an exaggeration, but I argue it might be just as impactful as NFR was, in shifting our view of Lana. Honestly, it's already in my top 5 in her discography, and reading some of your comments on older eras, and how some of you really did miss how she made challenging and intellectual music, this is what you're looking for. I'd argue that this may be one of her hardest listens yet, but it's one of her most rewarding listens since Honeymoon. Thematically, it's an album about legacy, namely her relationship to her family, how she fits into that puzzle, and the impact that she wants to leave upon the world. Not as an artist, but as a person, as Lizzie Grant, aka Lana Del Rey to us. I adore the back half particularly. It's a fun return to early Lana. Fans nostalgic for her Born to Die sounds will find much to eat there. The interludes add cryptic mystery, yet offer strong insights into why she made this record, though they do feel optional on re-listens. It's definitely not a perfect record by any means. In addition to the aforementioned interludes, some tracks clearly outshine others, and the whiplash of shifting sounds are not for people looking for a cohesive, easy listen. This album in many ways is unfiltered Lana. Those looking for a comfort record, or an easy listen, or any traditional pop hits need to move on. You will not find them here. My last major observation before I touch on each track is how brave this record is, not just sonically, but in its existence. Early marketing made it seem like this was a big era, when in reality, this is probably one of her darkest, deepest, and realest records to date. Ocean Blvd is a meditation on grief, heartbreak, and ultimately the human experience of belonging to family, from the comfort and strength being part of one gives to us, as well as the crushing lows we face when we inevitably lose the ones we love most by life's design. If Lana's first album posits we were born to die, this one's truly dedicated to the art of living itself. The first track is The Grants, an epic gospel tinge opener that really had me in goosebumps seconds in. The vocals at the start from Melody Perry and Patty Howard, backing vocalist for the Whitney Houston, eulogize Lana's late uncle David, who passed climbing the Rocky Mountains. The song itself calls back to the underrated Say Yes to Heaven in some ways, but centers itself around the idea of legacy being remembrance. The lines "I'm doing it for us" call back to Get Free, but the added "for our family" line adds specificity. The bridge brings it all together, talking about the future of her family, her niece, the past, her grandmother, and the present. herself, manifesting a beautiful life worth remembering. The title track continues the idea of remembrance, talking about the defunct Juergens Tunnel in Long Beach, California. She compares herself to it. Will she be forgotten? No Lana song is complete without sprawling references to California and her favorite long-gone artist, this time Harry Nilsson, but that chorus where she underscores how she needs someone to love her until she loves herself alludes to an ongoing journey towards self-love that really makes the song soar. I think Sweet is an underrated little soft piano ballad. This sounds a little bit random, but it reminded me of Little Shop of Horrors, Somewhere That's Green, but by way of Lana Del Rey. Lyrics like, if you want some basic bitch, go to the Beverly Center and find her, really underscore Lana's sense of humor. But the bridge's sincerity really gets to me. I think questions about wanting kids or marriage or marathons in Long Beach, it really does speak to Lana's eternal search for love and a simple life, something that she pines for in a cruel world. I noticed that it actually lifts part of its melody from Emile Haney's Wait for Life in the chorus. I think it really does complete the first trio of softball ballads before the album really gets weird. What can I say about A&W that hasn't been said before? I think it's a brilliant song that really tackles the scrutinization of Lana's appearance, her narratives, the way people treat the concept of the other woman. She even touches on sexual violence. The lines about looking like a side piece at 33 touch on looming ageism. The shift towards the second trappy half many have compared to early Lana is immaculate. It's bratty, it's grimy. Only Lana could pull off a lyric like, your mom called, I told her you're fucking up big time, and mean it. We cut to the Judah Smith interlude, which some have already deemed controversial, but I think that its inclusion right after American Horror is genius. I'm gonna be real here and say that I probably won't re-listen to it often, but the lines, I want to be a man in love, not a man in lust, and that final section about God as an artist and how discovering how preaching is mostly about the preacher themselves illuminate very key themes to this record. Lana's music, much like the preacher's words, are for her. Her music is for her, and we are merely sitting here like a captivated congregation. Candy Necklace with Jon Batiste has to be one of the most haunting cryptic tracks. Fans of Heroin will love this track's atmospheric sound. It's very sinister, foreboding, southern gothic. It's not a romantic song. It's obsessive and dark. The conceit of Candy Necklaces themselves is that they're this consumable thing, but the song evokes the emptiness of when all the candy is gone, and we're merely left with a rope that has lost its purpose and meaning. Perhaps it's a heavy-handed metaphor for love itself. Also, shout out to the Marina Teen Idol reference in verse 2. It really does make the song very macabre. The Jon Batiste interlude that follows is a total vibe. It really fits with the album's quasi-religious energy, almost like an ascension to heaven. I had chills the first time I heard it, and it really does bring us into the middle section of the record, perhaps Lana's most vulnerable and confessional songs to date. The next track, Kitsugi, references the Japanese art of repairing damaged pottery with gold, and it is a tough listen, especially for anyone who has really lost a loved one lately. Lana tackles grieving family members, especially from far away. My favorite line has to be, just another folk song, but anyway I try so hard, but that's okay. It feels like a glib little answer to people who are over her folk songs. It's definitely a standout. Fingertips has to be Lana's most intense track ever. It almost feels wrong to listen to this. It's the stunning stream of consciousness track with verses that touch on her innermost thoughts. They range from wanting to explain her work to people, to familial worries, to motherhood, to life's tragedies throughout the years. The astral body lines about her Uncle David broke me, as did the lamentation on all of the lost dreams and people that she's had to deal with, and her brief talk about being the queen of empathy, having lived through everything. Paris, Texas is a gorgeous cinematic track, likely paying homage to the Wim Wenders' Americana romance film. I watched it the other day and it really does echo a lot of Lana's earlier works visually. The play on American cities with European names, Paris, Texas, Florence, Alabama, and Venice, California, was really clever. My first listen evoked another film, Coraline, but the subject matter about escaping a relationship and introducing the idea of when you know, something that comes back later in the record, is so powerful. That final verse detailing returning home and being alone, but truly home with yourself, that got me. Grandfather, Please Stand on the Shoulders of My Father While He's Deep Sea Fishing with Ryopi has to be another gorgeous ballad where she addresses the allegations that she was manufactured. She actually touches on Question for the Culture in a sly little line. I really did adore the lines, "If you don't believe me, my poetry, hear my melodies, feel it in your bones," speak power to her faith in her own intentions and her artistry. The title itself really does tie into the idea of legacy in that she invokes a higher power to help validate what she knows to be true. It's definitely one of my favorites. Let the Light In signals a shift to the final section of the record with an airy, fun duet with Father John Misty, and they do sound amazing together. It reminds me a lot of If Tomorrow Never Came, but it's an immediate favorite of mine. It's so catchy, it feels like a song that would play in your favorite comfort movie. The way that she sings Love Song in the song feels like a clever nod to the NFR track. It's just a sweet, breezy summer jam. The motif of letting the light in from Kintsugi comes back on this track. Margaret with Bleachers was initially my favorite track on my first listen. It's, as Lana says, a simple song about Jack's fiancée, Margaret Qualley. It really does bring back the "when you know, to confirm that it's real this time. When you're good, it's gold ties back to Kintsugi. Jack's lines about black eyes and blue lies really feels like a homage to Get Free. It's truly one of the most romantic tracks that Jack and Lana have ever made. It's truly Lana's "You Are in Love" moment. The spoken bridge about not giving up on love, then spoiling the wedding date is absolute perfection. My favorite line though has to be "the soul that you bring to the table." It's definitely going to be a first dance at a wedding classic. The final three tracks will definitely make those looking for bops very happy. Fishtail fakes us out with a melancholic start that explodes into a trap back chorus. I literally screamed when she sang Palm Trees in Black and White. Lizzie Grant stans will get it. It reminded me of Tulsa Jesus Freak. The use of autotune was very gorgeous. What really gagged me the most though was the line about taking off her glasses to stop painting red flags green. I mean, lyrical genius. If you did not like Peppers with Tommy Genesis, you are not fun. The sample of Angelina is just pure camp. On this track, we get a return to sassy, defiant Lana. She's very funny here. She doesn't mind kissing her boyfriend even if he has COVID. Thematically, this track very much feels like a rebuke of the fear of death. Life is too short not to have fun. It's kind of like the Florida Kilos of the record. The little slice of surf rock at the end very much elevates the track for me. Lana closes out this album with a victory lap. Taco Truck XVB is just brilliant. The first half of the song Taco Truck was way too short. I really adored the imagery that she painted at the start, her canonizing her Lanita nickname, borrowing the melody of Chemtrails for a moment and Hotel California, playfully taking jabs at her haters before transitioning into a grimier remix of Venice Bitch, a song that many consider to actually be her best of all time. Just perfection all around. This song is littered with so many references to her earlier career. There's even a little sample of Soulja Boy's Kiss Me Through the Phone buried in there. It really is a legacy track. I know it's very early, but it is challenging Get Free for my favorite Lana album closer. Overall, Ocean Blvd might be one of her greatest works to date. It's very early, but I adore it. It's this multifaceted look into Lana's mind, her thoughts on life, legacy, and death through many different lights and context. Honestly, it's further proof that no one in the game is doing it like her, and I'm happy to score this album a 9.2 out of 10 this early on. Go and listen to it. What are you waiting for? If you have not listened to this record, go and do it. And that's a wrap on the video. Thank you so much for waiting for this review. I rushed to kind of get it out, but I really did have my thoughts organized. I took a whole day to really digest the record. I want to announce that I'm taking a brief break from uploading. Who knows? It could be like a couple days, a week, but I will be back with the remaining Lana videos at some point. But to avoid burnout, I probably will cover some other album or artist for my next video. For everyone who has been here the entire time throughout the Lana series, I give you my most sincere thank you. Recording these has been the most rewarding project that I've ever done on this channel. I have multiple different series. I had one on Charlie XCX that I'm extremely proud of. I had one on Taylor Swift that is still a work in progress. But this series was so much fun, just seeing the same people comment over and over again. Thank you so much for sticking around if you did. If you're new, you can rewatch from the start. A shout out to my members. This is not goodbye. I will see you very soon.